One more time.
Say,
Come on. In the room. Come on. In the room.
Come on. Say, Jesus, he's my doctor. He writes out all of my prescriptions. He brings all of my medicine. Say,
in the room.
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 Welcome to episode 1 of the PK's podcast, where we're just two preacher's kids chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and all shooting some b-ball outside school.
But a couple of guys, they were up no good. Starting to make trouble in the neighborhood.
So let's talk about a little bit about what we're doing while we're doing the podcast. We've been procrastinating on this. A lot of my friends have been starting to hit me up. What's going on with that podcast? We posted a picture of a soundboard like
11 days ago.
And I mean, what better person to do a podcast with than my best friend in the whole wide world? My best friend. So basically, we grew up in the church, and our parents are pastors, preachers per se, and which has made us opinionated people one way or the other. Sometimes very, very different, sometimes very alike. But we're just going to share those opinions in our own personal podcast.
I knocked the thing. Hopefully it don't.
It's all good. It's all good. So we're kind of going to do a order of service per se, and you'll get used to hearing this every podcast. We're going to do certain things, and we'll explain it as we go. But we want to get to the point where when you hear those things, you kind of already recognize what it is that we're going to talk about, for each segment.
And hopefully our singing didn't scare you away. You're still there.
Hopefully it did not scare you away. So I'm going to start off reading a scripture, and I'll be reading from the New Edition version, and it reads,
well,
love, unconditional. I'm not asking just of you and God to make it last. I'll do whatever needs to be done. But I need somebody, you know the song?
no.
Who will stand by me.
Oh my God.
When it's tough, Lord, I won't run. You'll always be there for me. Sunny day.
Oh,
Can you stand the rain?
Hey.
Storms will come. I know all the days won't be perfect, God. But this I know for sure.
For sure.
For sure. All right, next segment is going to be our love offering. Why don't you explain that?
Okay, so our love offering. So in the church, your love offering is when a guest preacher comes and they do a collection, an extra offering on top of the regular offering.
The fatty calf.
For the preacher.
For the preacher.
So if he collected it himself, he might do $100 line. He might do a $200 line. You might get that $500 line for an extra special blessing, and it's just an additional collection that you give into the preacher because he just preached so well that day.
So as it relates to this podcast, we're going to raise a love offering for people that maybe have done something recently that we feel should be noted. So it's going to be something positive. So this week, I want to give my love offering to Bubba Wallace. You know who Bubba Wallace is?
Yeah.
So Bubba Wallace is the NASCAR driver. And I'm raising a love offering for Bubba Wallace because he got enough people to back him. And they got away with the Confederate flag in the NASCAR races, which I think was interesting. But it was funny because on Twitter, they started calling him Bubba Smooye or Bubba Smooye.
Juicy Smooye.
Word to Dave Chappelle. And they were calling him that because, after he did all of these things to get the Confederate flag removed and completely banned from all NASCAR races, which is dope, especially with everything that's going on right now. And then actually not maybe a day or two after that, all of the NASCAR drivers, did you see it when they pushed his car across, which is dope. And then they had something else that came out, and it was like someone put a noose in his garage. So I guess according to where you are in standing, they assign you to a certain garage. And so this particular garage, it came out that, and it wasn't him that found it. I think they said NASCAR found it before he even entered the garage. And it was a noose. And then, so like, it turned into a big thing over Twitter, and social media was going crazy. And then maybe not even 24 hours after that, it was an investigation was done. And then they were saying that that's like the mechanism they use to close a garage. But if you saw a picture of it, it still looks like a noose. So everyone started calling him Bubba Smoothie to kind of make it seem like, he planted it, or to make it seem like not as serious of a thing. But I'm still raising a love offering for Bubba Wallace, because few reasons. I feel like we're in a day and age where if you see a noose, it's a noose, right? Like, there's so many different things you can use to close a garage, especially being NASCAR, which like is a huge thing. It's not like, what's the sport called when they throw it? Cornhole, right? It's a big thing. NASCAR is a big thing.
Cornhole.
So, right. So I'll tell you later about how I know what cornhole is. But it's a big thing. So it's kind of like one of those things where whoever put it there had to have some idea what they were doing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What's your thoughts on that?
I'm just hearing about the story, so I don't know.
Oh, and then I forgot this. So with part of the investigation, they said that the noose was there at least since October, so it wasn't planted. But with the sport, so Bubba Wallace is like the only black full-time NASCAR driver, right? So it's probably one of those things where like no one really thought anything of it because it was just
I wonder if like somebody actually did it and he's just now finding out, or because why would somebody plant that themselves?
So what they're saying is it's just a rope, right? And it's the rope that was used.
Yeah, there's so many ways
to
you can
close
tie
the garage.
A rope. There's
right.
So many ways you can tie a rope.
So if I go somewhere and I see a rope hanging with a hole at the bottom and it's wrapped around like once, okay, twice, okay, like someone had to look up like that's not just a normal knot. Like if I Google right now like how to tie a knot, I have to like go out of my way to learn how to tie a noose. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's one of those things where the tighter you pull down on it, it tightens up.
You're just not taught to tie.
Well, most people aren't. Most people are. We weren't taught to tie a noose. Right. Like in Boy Scouts, it wasn't like
be like this is how you tie.
Right. This is how you tie a hook. A fishing hook, and then this is how you tie your shoes. And this is how you tie a noose.
An even tighter grip.
Right. even tighter grip, So but I still want to, give a love offering to Bubba Wallace. What was that?
That was morbid.
That was very morbid. And for even the tide is not possible. But yes, for that I want to give my love offering to Bubba Wallace. Not for, just being the only full-time black NASCAR driver, but for, making an impact. And he'll forever be remembered. The only NASCAR driver I ever knew was like Jeff Gordon or something like that, and now Bubba Wallace is a household name. And it was also dope that he drove the Black Lives Matter car, which was really, really cool.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he drove it. Yeah. You got a love offering this week?
Yeah, I was thinking, I didn't have one at first, but so I was thinking like, who can I get a love offering to? So, with all of this stuff, happening, protests and all of that. So I want to give my love offering to, I wonder if I should give a backstory. Okay. So no, I won't give a backstory. Okay. I'm just going to say it. So I want to give my love offering to all the people who are still protesting, because I feel like a lot of times it's like really trendy, and just like a fad, it sticks around for maybe a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and then on to the next thing, whatever. But people have really been going hard, like in the protests, like posting, just talking about it. So I really think that's like big. I think that's helping to make change. So I want to give my love offering to all those people who are doing that, and I want to give my love offering to people who are, in addition to that, people who are helping to make change in their workspace, like aren't afraid to have those conversations with people who aren't of color, who don't know what, sometimes they don't even know what's going on.
Now you work with like a pretty mixed staff, right?
So actually, my staff is about half Black.
Okay.
So half Black, and then a little more than half, and we're a small staff.
Okay.
So we're a nonprofit, and so we're pretty. We are focused on equality, and focus on equity and providing, I should say, equity within the school systems. So like those are conversations that we are used to a degree. But I will say that the protests and just everything that has been happening has increased those conversations in work. So yeah, shout out to everyone who's still having those conversations. And
I want to talk about a couple of things you said. First, absolutely shout out, and I'm gonna raise a $50. I'm gonna stand in the $50 line for those people that have been protesting, especially after a lot of people are going back to work. You know, I think at first it was like the convenient or the easy thing to do because we didn't have anything to do, right? We've been at home stuck, and so at pretty much every opportunity we had to go out, people took advantage of that because you had absolutely nothing else to do. And I think right now, the fact that it's sticking and it's still kind of, you know, catching steam and people are still doing it and they're still talking about it. Absolutely. All those people, especially the people that may get off after work and go protest, or the people that go protest before work, and things like that. So I'm definitely going to, donate or submit my love offering to those people. But you had mentioned something along the lines of like, you know, I'm gonna just assume that it's something that you all have been talking about since it's kind of like a mixed staff. So has there been any pushback where people are like, you know, well, I don't know why they're doing that, or people that may not agree with the movement and have been vocal about it?
No, but I think our staff is rare, to be honest. I think our staff is pretty, if they're not knowledgeable about what's going on with the Black Lives Movement, then they are curious and they're open to understanding. Which I feel like for white people, that's the first step. Be curious and be open to understanding, even if you don't know. And then I would say, following up to that, Black people, we have to be willing to explain. Right.
Now, how do you explain something to, you know, I don't want to even use the name Karen. Random person comes up to you and they're like, so what's all this about? I mean, you know, slavery was, you know, 300 years ago, and, you know, I don't even know why you guys are still so upset. How do you explain that to someone who may genuinely not understand? You know, I mean, you guys are able to go to work and you guys are able to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. How do you explain that to someone that doesn't understand genuinely?
So to me, what I would do is you talk through statistics, like give them facts, like talking about work. We'll talk about how underpaid Black women are and like why that occurs. You talking about like redlining and then what that turned into, and you talking about how separated school systems are, and then you talk about, you know, like literally facts. There are facts to back up what happened since slavery and why Black people have to work 3 times as hard to get in the same space as a white person. So yeah, I hit on with the facts.
I read something not long ago about you remember Count Day growing up? Yeah. Where you get a certain number of dollars from the state, is it?
And you got pizza.
And you got pizza for showing up. And it wasn't even good pizza. I mean, it was coming up off of us. Like, they would get, a couple grand, and we would get, like, a piece of hot and ready.
It was kind of like Biggie's back in the day. Oh, that pizza used to hit.
So, this statistic said something about, and it was kind of proving why or how racism is real, specifically in the education system. And I'm kind of just shooting from the hip here. I don't remember exactly what it was. But it was something like inner city schools get X number of dollars, and it was substantially less than the suburban schools. And then they were saying with that, of course, there may be certain reasons why, you know, the roads may get done more often and taxes and this and that. And then they said, but also on the contrary, poorer white areas still get more per student that shows up on count day or whatever than black students. Now, looking at it from your point of view, where you said we're going for not only equality but equity, and that's what we're about. How is something like that fought? Because you can't just overnight, hey, we should get more money for black students done. So how was that done? And how are those conversations had to show and to prove that, hey, not only is this not okay, but this needs to be changed?
No.
Yeah. I mean, just for so completely in your opinion, right?
In my opinion,
how would someone go about, and of course we're just shooting from the hip here, but how would someone possibly go about even having those conversations?
So, well, you know what? I feel like it has to be explained that equality is different from equity, because you could give one person $100 and another person $100, and that $100 is gonna work greater for one person than the next person. That, to me, that's what equality is.
Okay.
But say like I'm in debt because of student loans or whatever, and my parents didn't have money to provide me, with free college or whatever. So say I'm in debt, and so like that $100 ain't gonna do nothing for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I need it more, and this is not, I'm just talking about money.
Okay.
But like if we're just talking about money, to get someone in the same place, it may take more money to get that person to the same place as the other person.
Right.
So if I'm giving each person $3,000 and one person is down here, then we still here. And this person is still,
so it should be given
more
on a scale.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think it should be on a scale. I don't think that giving it to everyone doesn't work. Giving it to everyone, it should be for black people. It should be for black people.
Now, you're speaking specifically to count day money, like money from the government to schools, or just generally speaking?
I'm just generally speaking.
Got you.
I'm for equity, not equality.
So with that being said, equity will look more along the lines of, okay, so equality would be stimulus check, and equity would be reparations.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Did you hear about that? It was some crazy number, $300,000 or something like that.
$300,000?
Something crazy that the BET cat. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But he had some crazy number.
I give you $1,000.
What's his name? Bob.
Dang, I know who you're talking about.
Bob Jones. Bob.
No.
Bob Johnson.
Bob Johnson, yeah.
And so he's calling for $14 trillion of reparations, and it ended up being like a couple $100,000 per person.
14 trillion.
And
I'll take it.
dog, Twitter was going up. Like, it had like pictures of like the whitest people. Like, what's up, my nigga? Like, I'm here to collect that check.
See, the thing is, the United States can get that money.
Right.
They got the money for the stimulus check.
Right.
And we supposed to be all in debt. They can get the money if they wanted to.
Well, okay. Unpopular opinion. I'm happy it hasn't happened.
Why?
I'm happy that reparations has not happened.
Because we gonna fool?
No. Because if our ancestors, great Mammy Jameson got her 40 acres and a mule, then I wouldn't get mine, I wouldn't be able to fool on my Lambo today.
Wait, what?
So, like, if reparations were already given in the past, that's it, right?
You saying you happy they didn't get it, so you didn't get it?
100%.
What?
Because what's 40 acres and a mule to my Bentley?
But you know what? Also, I don't think it's just money. It's obviously not just money.
It is. Look,
he's talking about this.
You can have that degree.
No. You
can have that equality.
I'm not talking about.
You can have. Look. I take 2 stripes to the back. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Look, once I get done. Look, because once I get my yays, I get buffed up, I'm going to fool.
No, that's why I said you don't need it. What you talking about? I said, why? Because we going to fool? You was like, no. And then 5 minutes later, because I'm going to fool.
I'm going to fool.
No, I think money is not going to solve the problem.
Why not?
Because people still getting shot. You can get shot and killed, a police officer could still arrest you and you could still die. It don't matter how much money you got.
I agree, but I also disagree. I'm gonna tell you why. You're right, absolutely. So money does not protect. So for people who do not know me directly, how would you explain my sense of humor / personality? Figure it out. Stay tuned for the upcoming episode.
Yeah, they figure it out.
So, of course, money does not protect you, but $300,000 in the bank can get you a different kind of lawyer.
If you're alive.
Get your family a different kind of lawyer.
Exactly. That's my point. Like,
so what else would be, what's more valuable?
The whole system has to change.
But it starts with the money, right?
No, cause just cause you got money don't mean they gonna let you in the room. That don't mean they gonna let you on a board.
Look, you don't gotta let me in the room. I'll buy the building.
No, but that don't. No, it's different.
Well, explain what you think. Explain what you.
Just because you have the money does not mean that you are gonna be accepted. And so I think it's being accepted. Like, some people are literally afraid of black people, like see black people as a threat. Like police officers.
Like physically?
Like, I think everything.
Yeah.
I think everything, because I saw something that said, like, white people are scared because what would you, I was supposed to, nigga, what would you do if you was in this? But seriously, like, you had these people in slavery for years. We had to struggle for civil rights, all of this stuff. You think, come on, somebody in their right mind not gonna want payback? Like, I forget exactly what it said, but like that, I honestly think that's a valid point, because you've been oppressing these people for hundreds of years, and then you like, oh, we just need to give them this. Like, no, we trying to take over at this point.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I think it's going to take, like...
More than money.
But
money be nice.
It's going to take a long time.
Would you turn that check down?
No, absolutely not. I ain't turn that stimulus check down either. Like, give me that cash, boy.
So let me ask you this. No, I understand what you're saying, but I do feel as though money would be a good start in attempts to level out the playing field.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to think if I would take money over, like, I don't think I would take money over,
white skin.
What? I would absolutely take money over white skin. What are you talking about?
You already got Sean.
Oh my God. Anyway, that's another conversation. I don't know if I would take money over, like, the opportunity for equity. Like, I don't know. But I also think that's an individualistic thing. If people like, give me that cash, I don't care what else, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I feel like at this point, and which I will also say is a positive, like, black people are actually standing together.
Oh, yeah.
Which black people don't do often,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's power in numbers. So, like, the fact that everybody has the same goal in mind to an extent, like, that's very powerful.
Yeah. Now, the only thing I feel as though right now, not the only thing, one thing that I feel as though the movement, can we just call it the movement for now?
Yeah.
Is lacking is a designated leader.
Mm-hmm.
Because even back in the 60s, right, you had those people that you followed. Most people, were either Dr. King or Malcolm X. I think right now we're kind of all just all over the place,
I think that also goes with the individualistic, like, society that we're kind of living in. You know what I mean? Like, people don't really want to, I don't know. To an extent, I don't feel like people want to follow a person because they want to do their own thing.
Right. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's pros and cons. So, I saw somebody say what you said too about the leader thing. So they were saying that, well, it's a good thing we don't have a leader because the FBI will be out for that person,
right,
or whatever, like, because what happened to Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. And so I was like, yeah, that's valid. But also I feel like because of social media, we are kind of like we know what's going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so social media compared to like back in the 50s and 60s, social media is the spreader of information.
Mm-hmm.
So like everybody can still be on one path and have one goal without a specific person like being, you know, that leader. Because back in the day, like the word had to be passed through a person to another person, whatever. But yeah, I said like it's just so long ago. I mean, I guess they had phones, but you know what I'm saying? But just like that instant information, and I feel like that's helpful as far as getting people on the same page, in the same direction. But I feel like there are so many leaders, you know, to where I don't necessarily think it's a negative that there isn't just one. I will say that it's complex, like as far as goals and what people want, because I mean Black people are complex. Like we're different, you know, we're in different spaces in life and whatever, so I think that's complex. But yeah,
I'm gonna tell you why I think that's a problem. So let's say, you know, president of whatever country, organization, establishment, whatever, says, okay, I want to do my part, right? I want to level out the playing field. What can I do? Who do I talk to? Who is that person? Because there hasn't been someone, or I'm not going to say there hasn't been someone, there hasn't been that person that the movement has adopted as this is our leader.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it will be hard for someone to have a conversation. Okay, what can I do? How can I do my part?
But what about people like in Senate and like those people who are, you know, I feel like there are people. I feel like there just isn't one person.
Right.
Like I feel like there isn't just one person to go to. I feel like there are a lot of activists.
Right.
But I don't think there's just one person.
Right. Okay. Good conversation. Our next segment is God Told Me to Tell You. And you want to explain this segment or you want me to explain it?
So I can explain it.
Okay.
So God told me to tell you. So this is a saying that a lot of Christian Jews that isn't necessarily...
You said Christian Jews?
No, I said Christians use.
Oh, okay.
A lot of Christians use, and you would think that it was like spoken or heard from God, but
authentic.
Most of the time it's not. Like it's never like 99% of the time, like God told me to tell you is something that person want to tell you and trying to make it seem like it came from the Lord.
Right.
And sometimes it could be negative or positive.
Right.
It could be negative or positive.
I'm going to use mine probably from here, henceforth, now and forever. Use mine as a negative.
And I would say not agreeable.
Right.
Not agreeable.
Right.
It's not agreeable.
Right.
So if somebody tell you that, you be like,
So I want to give my... God told me to tell you, Trustee J. Alexander Queuing. You know who that is?
Yeah.
All right. God told me to tell you to stay your butt at home. Did you see that video? So this man, so for those of you who don't know, this was one of the officers, not the officer who had his knee on the late George Floyd's, his knee on the late George Floyd's neck. But this is one of the officers that stood around. So he got out of jail.
No, he wasn't standing around. He was on like his legs or something like that.
He was watching. He wasn't the one on the knee.
He was behind.
Right. He didn't stop it from happening. He participated. He assisted in it. Yeah. He was a part of George Floyd's death.
Yeah.
And this man was out at the Quickie Mart or whatever buying frozen pancakes, like steaks, enchilada sauce, peanut butter. Like he about to have him a good old time. And so this lady walks up to him and she's recording and she's like, "Are you who I think you are?" Something like that. And at first he's like confused, like, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, that's me." And then it was like he kind of paused, right? Like he was trying to figure out, because it was a white lady who was recording, right?
I mean, from the voice.
From the voice, it was a white lady. So he was probably trying to. Well, we know it wasn't like Shaquantanique recording, right? So he paused for a second and was like,
"We know how to code switch."
I don't really know. I saw something about code switching too. He was kind of like, I don't know what side of the fence you on. So he like paused and she was like, "Sir, how dare you you are not welcome here. She's like going off, and then he walks away, and he's like, I'm sorry you feel that way, and blah blah blah. Like he was about to have himself a good old cookout. Like he wasn't buying like necessities like water and like, you know what I'm saying, like soap. Like my man was getting like ketchup, like these fries about to hit. Like, you know, he was getting like peanut butter, the chunky organic kind.
Oh my
And she's like, how dare you? So to trustee the arch ex-bishop J. Alexander Ewing, God told me to tell you to stay your butt at home. Why don't you turn to somebody to the left of you and say, neighbor, oh neighbor, stay your butt at home.
Stay your butt at home.
All right, what did God tell you this week?
Well, can I just talk about that real quick?
Absolutely.
That just seemed real awkward. Like, that just seemed like such an awkward situation. Because I was like, dang.
From which side of the camera?
Both.
Right.
Like, because
both. Yeah,
I was
both.
like, dang. I was like, okay, this lady gonna get in his face to do what? Like, antagonize him or whatever. And then at the same time, I'm like, do you really think it was a good idea to go to the store?
Right.
Like, really? Like,
right.
You thought you ain't use Shipt? You ain't use Instacart?
Right. You got options, bro.
You Uber Eats?
But think about it. He probably was like, he knew what was up. I feel like he knew what he was doing.
But then also you gotta think about it too. If somebody see that name when they dropping some food off,
what you gonna do?
I mean, am I gonna drop? Is he gonna?
What you gonna do to the food?
One, is he gonna get his food?
Look,
I wouldn't do nothing to the food.
If I got them fries,
that's nasty. But one, is he even gonna get his food?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, two, like, if you get his food, what's gonna be wrong with it?
Right. Somebody might post his address online.
Exactly.
Or,
and three, his address gonna be there.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just really a tough spot. I was just like, ooh, this is, you know, I think I just be feeling bad for people. But I'm like, you know, obviously he helped, didn't stop it, but I was just like, oh, that's a tough situation because he got to get food.
Now, did you see? It looked like he was with like his son or something like that, right? It was
like,
someone who was with him, a friend or someone.
Maybe a friend.
So let's put ourselves in that person's shoes, right? Let's say you're the son or daughter of Brother Ewing.
That wasn't his son or daughter.
Okay, well, let's say you're that third party.
Yeah.
How would you handle that?
He should have just had his friend go to the store.
Right.
He should have just had his friend go to the store.
Right.
You obviously got friends.
Right.
So you should have just had your friend go to the store. We would have avoided all of this.
Yeah.
Even had his friend order the food under his name.
Mm-hmm.
That's simple.
That's
simple. So yeah, I don't know. That was just really awkward.
You know, I wouldn't even say it's awkward. I would say like the audacity to feel comfortable enough, right, to go out, but at the same time, like
the audacity to feel comfortable enough and, you know, to sit on somebody, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously he don't have a problem with feeling up being in the situation.
He kind of looked like a brother. Like, he got some color.
Yeah.
He got some color.
But they said he's like Jamaican or something. I don't know. Don't quote me.
But I mean, he looked like me, you know? So like, you doing all this, like, you could have been George Floyd as well.
Yeah.
You just was wearing a badge, you know?
Yeah.
Which kind of shows that colorism is real, you know? Like, people, I don't know. It's just like how you now if he looked like, you know, Brad Grzowski, it's a little different. But bro got a little melanin, you know?
Yeah.
His beard connect. So,
just because you got melanin don't mean your beard connect either. Just saying.
Just saying. All right. What God tell you this week?
So, God told me to speak to. I'm waiting for it. I got it. All right. I hear you, Holy Spirit, speak. So God told me to tell all y'all cancel culture to sit down somewhere.
Now, the canceled of the culture or the cancel culturers?
The cancel culture. So I saw this story. And
the people that do the canceling.
The people who do the canceling.
Okay.
So I'm not saying for everything too, but I'll talk about this this news story I saw just like literally 2 minutes ago. So apparently Jimmy Kimmel went on vacation after some footage came up of him doing blackface, like some footage.
That was old, right?
Right.
The blackface.
Right. So I don't
Right.
know the extent because obviously I just looked it up, so I don't know. But I'm going to speak with the assumption that it's old, which I
Right.
do know it's old. And I'm going to speak with the mentality that people can change and
Okay.
people can right wrongs.
Right.
And people can be forgiven for what they
Right.
do.
Right.
So, with that being said, bringing up something that happened however many years ago, I feel like, and depending on how long ago it was, I feel like that's just doing too much for me.
So they canceled Jimmy Kimmel.
Like the cancel culture is out for Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I would say the same thing, and I know this is gonna be a real unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna say the same thing about what they canceled Starbucks.
Oh.
They canceled Starbucks.
Right.
They cancel
Doja Cat.
I think Starbucks uncanceled now.
Oh.
But look, I can't keep up.
Doja
you know what
Cat.
I'm saying? Because sometimes I don't even know about that. We're not gonna talk about it.
So,
but no, you know, like I don't even know how to keep up. Like,
right.
Can I watch Jimmy Kimmel or like should I not watch Jimmy Kimmel? You know what I'm saying?
So Starbucks is uncanceled. Jimmy Kimmel is canceled.
Right, and Wendy's 444 was canceled, and I think they uncanceled now.
Why? Because everybody's stimulus ran out and they need to go back to fast food.
So something happened. I think they told somebody who was wearing a mask to take a Black Lives
Matter mask, right?
Mask to take their mask off, and then so they started tweeting about it or something. I don't know, tweet, video, whatever. It got on social media, and then everybody was like, "We canceling Wendy's."
Right.
So for me, if a little assistant manager takes something off, tell you to do something, if they fire the manager or do whatever they do to rectify the situation,
that should be it.
I feel like that should be it.
Right,
you know
because that employee is not a direct representative of the thoughts and views of Wendy's as a whole.
If they fire them, you know what I'm saying?
And make a statement.
Right. But yeah, so I'm just like, because at this point, I'm like, okay, so what I'm supposed to, I don't go to Wendy's no more. But Starbucks, can I go to Starbucks? Like, am I going to be looked at weird because I'm in Starbucks? Like,
right.
You know, so
now,
yeah.
Starbucks was canceled a couple of different times, right?
Starbucks was canceled.
Because remember the time where, what did they do? Like kick some guys out or something like that? So they were canceled a couple of times. I'm looking up this Jimmy Kimmel footage right now, and it looks like it came from 2000. So, I mean...
That's 20 years ago.
Right.
Okay.
And the room was much different then. I mean, you could say the F word, right? Yeah. Comedians used to use that word, and it wasn't as offensive as it is now. I mean, if someone comes out and says that word these days, I mean, it's raps, you know?
Yeah.
I mean...
That's pretty terrible, though, I gotta admit.
You know, but I mean, like, even if you
I just mean that picture. That's all bad.
He looked like me. So yeah, I think that there should be a statute of limitations, right? for canceling somebody. And the room was much different then. And, you know, I feel like looking at it that way, like things, you know how they say, like, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So, like, things constantly change. So, probably in another 20 years, as sensitive as society is right now, people will be looking back like, y'all couldn't say that, or y'all didn't say, or y'all was apologizing for all of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then remember, like, they had canceled Tyra Banks for fat shaming somebody recently, and that was from 15 years ago, you know?
Exactly.
So, I think that's annoying, and it's like, not only can people's views change, but like society's view of things constantly evolve, you know? So like now it's like, love yourself no matter how you look and this and this.
Yeah.
But back then, you know, the whole top model thing, that if you wanted to be a supermodel, you had to look a certain way. Back then, comedy, not saying it was okay, but blackface was a thing, you know? So let's say somebody does something offensively, someone that's not of color. I don't know. I'm just shooting from the hip here. Let's say you are You know, you're doing a work presentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are doing some role playing, right? and someone shows up, right? Karen shows up and just blackface. How do you handle that?
I'm about to be Karen.
Like, how do you like someone just shows up just straight, just charcoal, like, hey Jess, like, you ready to go?
I literally can't.
Like, how would you handle it?
I don't know. I don't know. I would probably ask, like, what?
And I'm asking that to say,
like,
the people around Jimmy Kimmel should have been canceled. His black friends should be canceled.
Yeah.
For letting him do that. Just like the Kente cloths, right? Like who ordered them boys?
The black person
who helped put them on?
Person kneeling with
the black person kneeling, you know, so like, so we're so quick to cancel this person, but there's so many other people that go into the making of certain things. Like, so Jimmy Kimmel, right? He should be canceled. Cool. But what about the black dude possibly who was putting the makeup on, right? So if someone comes to you and Jessica, let's get this group presentation popping, and they show up in black skin, what are you going to do? Are you going to tell them to take it off?
I would be like, what? At first, I would ask them, like, what are you doing? And then I would say, you need to take that off.
Could you just imagine, right? Like, you're in the bathroom, right? Doing your makeup, and the girl next to you just got black, just tar, just like caking that junk on. Like, what do? You don't even know this person, right? You're in the bathroom fixing your makeup at the party or the club or whatever, work, whatever. And somebody just like...
Yeah, he cannot.
Like, what you gonna do?
What are you doing? You need to take that off.
And then what if she's like, you're putting on black face?
I mean,
and
I don't know what I would do at that point.
Right.
To be honest, like, we might have to fight. We might have to fight.
Oh man,
That's
what would I do
though.
if I'm in the bathroom and somebody putting on blackface? I don't know. I'll probably get canceled.
That's what I was.
Because they'd be like, you just let this man walk out like that?
I mean, you would let that man walk out? You wouldn't say nothing to him?
Oh, I'm for sure gonna say something. Yeah. But like, am I gonna fight you for putting? Am I gonna fight you?
I might do something petty though. I might like take her makeup bag and like.
Would you really?
Away. Yeah, I might not fight her. I ain't even gonna say I'm a fighter because that ain't me. I'm not gonna. But I probably would snatch that makeup bag.
I'm going to, at the very least, take a picture.
I mean, at the very least.
At the very least, take a picture.
Because you're going to take the picture or you're going to video. So, okay, so this is the go-to.
Right.
You're going to videotape it.
Right.
You're going to be like, oh, I'm about to put you all world
right. I'm
star.
I'm
like, you about to be all up on here.
Right.
Because to be honest, you going to lose your job.
You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance.
You about to lose
your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. You're going to lose your job. You probably going to lose some of your friends because they don't want to be associated with you. You know?
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, I probably would do that.
Right.
Now I think about it. Because that just seemed like, okay, it's more consequences. But back to what I was saying about, like, cancel culture.
Uh-huh.
I think for certain things, like, we do have to allow people the opportunity to apologize. Like, and genuinely apologize. Right. Now, so it gets to the point where if
reparations.
I mean, you get to the point where they don't apologize or like whatever they do isn't genuine. They ain't putting up the money, ain't doing whatever. That's another
Imagine, I'm so sorry to cut you off. The only acceptable apology
is putting up money.
Is I put on blackface, right? And I got X number dollar from this episode. So I'm so sorry for this. And because of this, I'm going to give you the money I got from this episode exponentially because it's right. Like the value of the dollar is worth so much more now. And then not only that, but all of the other possible gigs or shows. So for the rest of that season, times whatever, inflation, donated to a cause. That's how you properly apologize for something like that. Otherwise, to me, a sorry is it doesn't go anywhere. $1,000 doesn't go anywhere.
Like you helping to make change.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's real. I can see that. Yeah, but I think people just have to allow.
I should put blackface on next episode.
Please don't.
That's not racist though.
Please don't.
Is that racist?
I would not. It's you're black. You can't. I mean, you can't. No, it's not racist, but it's just inappropriate.
How's that inappropriate?
Why would you put blackface on?
Because it's funny.
No,
You
it's
laughed
not.
at that picture of Jimmy Kimmel.
Because that just is just so. It's
Over there
so.
looking like. All right.
That's bold.
So you were
I had to
saying
cut
you were
that part
saying.
out, baby. Yeah, no, I just think people should allow companies to give appropriate apologies,
Right.
whatever, before canceling them.
Right.
Because I mean, come on, like, who do y'all still buy Gucci? Y'all still buying? What else was canceled? Burberry,
Montclair.
Yes.
H&M.
H&M, oh yes, and people be sneaking up in H&M thinking nobody gonna see them trying to get them deals. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were, and that's just, I would even say, black issues aside or whatever, or race issues aside, like, all these celebrities, now, you know, good and well, if a lot of stuff that you done that people would have found out, you would have been canceled the way that cancel culture is. So people just have to be a little bit more graceful.
Okay, now I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Should said person, let's say Jimmy Kimmel this never came up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should someone who could potentially be a part of cancel culture admit their wrongs before it happens?
Well,
like, hey guys, before it comes up, 20 years ago, I put on blackface. Because to me, that's the only way it's going to seem genuine. Otherwise, it's like, oh, now y'all starting to affect my possible bag.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like I stole something from someone that no one knew about. And then once they find a camera, from 20 years ago, they're like, oh, you're a thief. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It seems disingenuous to apologize after. So to me, everybody who possibly put blackface on or said the N-word or whatever should come up front, like right now, and be like, hey guys, back in 2020 or back in 2000,
I was rapping this song.
I said the ER, the hard ER, to the Chingy song right there. I just want to formally apologize, because who's not going to apologize when it starts to affect that bag? Once you're afraid you're going to get canceled, we are going to apologize.
I mean, I think those are assumptions too, though. Like, people could genuinely be sorry and not be afraid that it's going to affect their bag.
Should they make a statement before it comes up?
Ooh, I don't know. Would I make a statement before it comes up? Depending on how likely it would be to come up.
Right.
Depending on how likely. If it's 75% likely to come up, maybe.
You can roll that dice?
If 50%, definitely not doing it. Definitely not doing it.
You ever did anything that you don't want mom and dad to ever find out about, and you're gonna go to the grave with it?
No.
Never. Bruh, I used to steal dad's car.
You did for real?
Swear. Look, and I'm going to the grave. I guess not. I'm going to the grave with this one because he gonna kill me. But anyway, so bro, I was like 14, 13, right? Mom and dad used to be at Bible class on Wednesdays. You would be at like dance practice or something.
Oh my God.
And I would steal that Sebring and drive around the block. Right, look, I would get in that boy and turn the bass up. And you know, it was only 3 knobs back then. It was bass, mid, and treble. I did not know how to drive a car. That's how I learned how to drive a car.
You went to driver's training, like, how you know how to drive
I would get in the car. I would tilt the seat back like this. I would remember the aux cord back then was a tape cassette.
What was wrong?
That you would put in the thing. You would put the headphone in the jack, and I would drive around the block. At least for like a good 20 minutes.
Would the neighbors see you?
I'm sure they did. And then I would go to like Hines Park, drive around there.
Are you serious?
Swear.
Wow.
Straight to the grave with that one. Anyway, anything else, sister?
Nah. I think I felt like it was one more thing that I wanted to say, but I can't remember. So yeah.
Okay, awesome.
That's all we got. That's all I got.
Thank you so much. I love you so much, sister.
Love you.
We're closing. Why don't you look at somebody and say, neighbor?
Neighbor.
I love you.
I love you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
And I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Amen.